All right, this is the February meeting of the Tabletop Minions group, and we're going to talk about PDF games. PDF games are computer files that you download and you print out if you want to. PDF stands for Portable Document Format. It was something that was designed by Adobe, a program called Acrobat. It's a free reader program you can download for pretty much any kind of device. You can get it for cell phones, you can get it for laptops, computers, Macs, PCs, Linux. This is an e-reader. I've got a bunch of games on this as well. Instruction manuals and stuff like that for miniatures. You make the stuff with the Adobe Acrobat software, which is not free, but if you want to read it, there's a free reader, you download it. Everything works pretty well for that. The main important part of PDF is the P, which stands for portable. The concept that you can look at it on a Mac, a PC, Linux, whatever you want to do. It's portable and it can be opened by anyone. The trick is it can't be edited by anyone. So once you make a PDF and you, let's say, sell it or download it or whatever, and somebody gets it, they can read it, they can print it out, but they can't go in and change stuff and retype bits and then, sell it to somebody else or something like that. It's kind of ideal for people who are just starting out, who want to be able to produce a booklet, instruction manual, something like that, and be able to get it to people cheaply and easily without having to actually print up a fancy rule set with full color and the whole deal and all that stuff. But you can still put color in something like this, because then it just depends on whether the person wants to print it in full color or whether they want to print it in black and white. They've got all those options. So that's basically what a PDF is. And you can find them all over the internet. So, all right, so why PDF games? One of the important things about PDF games is that when you look online, a lot of them are either free or inexpensive. They're inexpensive because it's just a computer file. So you don't have to concern yourself about warehousing a whole bunch of printed volumes of some book. You don't have to worry about working with a printer and go through all that stuff. Once you've got it done on your computer and you're the person making the game, you're done. You just basically output it as a PDF, and then you can put it on your website or upload it to different sites, and it's really quick and easy. So yeah, a lot of times they're either free or inexpensive. So that's a real bonus for the person who wants to use the PDFs. The other thing that's also kind of cool is that you can usually use any kind of miniatures line that you want. So this is a game called Flying Lead, just came out recently. It's modern skirmish rules for guns, guts, and glory. It's an entire rules booklet, but the one thing this guy doesn't sell is he doesn't sell miniatures. So you buy the rules booklet from him, print it out if you want to or whatever, and then you use miniatures you've already got. You use miniatures that you like that you found someplace for cheap, or you use stuff you found online, whatever you want to do. That's kind of the important part about these types of games, is that you can play, you can print the stuff out, and you can use whatever miniatures you want. And there's games out there for fantasy, sci-fi, modern, World War II, whatever. The rules are always frequently kind of different and interesting as well. When you're a small company or just a guy who's putting out some free rules, you can kind of take some chances. When you're a big company and you're printing out a fancy rules set with full color graphics and everything, you're really concerned with paying the bills. You're really concerned with making sure that the people who work for you can get paid, so you want to make money. And one of the best ways to make money is to keep selling people miniatures. Once they buy the rules, they're only going to buy the rules once usually, but they can keep buying miniatures. So when you aren't concerning yourself with the miniatures, you want to write a cool and interesting rules system. You can make something that's kind of odd or different, kind of indie, and go from there. That's one of the nice things about it, is you're going to find stuff that's going to be, especially the free ones, that are going to be just all really different things you wouldn't find someplace else. Another big bonus to PDF games is, again, you can print them out if you want to. This is something I printed and then had comb bound, so it'll open up and lay flat. You can put them in a 3-hole punch, or in this situation, these are plastic pages. These are really nice because you can slide the paper in there and then it's protected from soda spills or whatever, and it's not going to rip out real easily either. And you can carry, this is 3 games just in this binder alone, so you can kind of carry a lot of stuff around, and it's a lot easier that way. You can also use your laptop. Again, I've got the Song of Blades and Heroes rules on my cell phone, so that's kind of nice. It helps a lot for this type of game. So what's the downside to PDF games? The downside to PDF games is that they're frequently low budget, because a lot of times they're done by one guy or maybe a couple of people, and maybe the guys that he's playing with. You're not going to get a lot of artwork. You're not going to get a lot of fancy color. It's going to be a lot of text, and boxes, and it's going to look like it was designed in, Microsoft Word. That's frequently what you're going to find, but if you're okay with that, you can find a lot of different rule systems that are really interesting and fun to play. And the trick is again, if they're free, you can find one, take a look at it, go, man, I don't like that, move on to another one, or you can take parts of them and put them all together and make your own house rules for you and your friends when you play and that kind of stuff. They may not be extensively play tested sometimes. That's also a downside. You might find something that the guy thought at the time was a really good idea, but after a certain amount of time you realize, well, this rule is really broken, or whatever the problem might be. Because it's not a multi-million-dollar project that's being shipped worldwide, it's made by a small group of people or maybe a single guy, play testing sometimes is limited. They may not be frequently updated. When you spend a lot of time to produce a PDF and put it out there for free specifically, you're not going to spend a lot of time necessarily to make sure that there's a frequently asked questions list out there so people can find out what they're looking for and get questions answered. You may not want to even do that stuff anymore. You may have decided, well, I'm done with miniatures games for a while. That's not to say that there's not a lot of support out there. There's a lot of groups out there that produce PDFs and have a message board and have a lot of information going on, so that's really cool. You're not going to find tournaments either. If you're a competitive player and you like to go to tournaments and play a lot and do that kind of stuff, you're not going to find too much of that, because tournaments need a bunch of people all playing the same game. So when it's the big budget game, you're going to find them all kind of congregating and you're going to get your tournaments. If it's some small little game that you found someplace online, you're not necessarily going to find other people around you who are local who are also playing that same game. So where do you get PDF games? Well, because they're basically computer files, it's best to look for them obviously online. A couple of sites. Free Wargames Rules. It's an English site, and they've got stuff in there for ancients, sci-fi, World War II, World War I, any type of genre you're looking for. They've got free rules for you to download. Links to different sites where you can get them. That's really kind of helpful. Another good site is called the Wargame Vault. The Wargame Vault is a site. It's part of the RPG Now network, so that's not a free site. That's a site you pay for, but because of that, the games have a tendency to usually be a little bit higher quality. So, you kind of get what you pay for in some situations. Another good site is called E23. E23 is the electronic arm of Steve Jackson Games. But they don't just sell Steve Jackson games. They sell all the Steve Jackson game stuff like Car Wars and Ogre and a bunch of other of their miniatures games, but they also sell other companies' stuff and as like a distributor. Also, Wargame Downloads. It's again another pay site, but it's aimed directly at miniatures games, war games, that kind of stuff. It doesn't have like role-playing games or card games too much. It's just about war games and miniatures games. Once you find a site and you find a game that you like, in my opinion, your best bet is then to start buying directly from the designer. A lot of the designers will sell direct on their website, and then they get the lion's share of the money, which is really kind of nice. But I think PDF games are a really good alternative for finding stuff that you like to play. I think you should definitely go out and look for them if you can find them, and we'll have some links up on the website with all of these places and probably a few more. So that's the meeting for this month, and we'll see you next month. Waving. Bye-bye. Hooray.